Hello, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram users. This is Fuego here with a very special podcast. I have not done this in a while. It's been a very hot minute. Welcome back to Burning the Salt. This week, it is only I. I'm doing this right now. It's 12:28 in the morning. It's already August 25th, 2017. We're already in Friday. Been having a little bit of a hard time sleeping, so I decided to do like a little podcast right quick. Excuse me. But first, before I do anything, I just want to say thank you for everybody for showing your support towards my tournaments that I've been going. If tomorrow, now that it's Friday, is absolute battle, and I'm planning on going over there to Dallas. The issue is right now, currently there's a hurricane going on that could possibly hinder my attendance over there. So hopefully things let up and I could be able to go there in time. I would leave early. Well, my wife and I would leave early Saturday morning to make it over there before the matches start. And then if things go the way they go, whether if I stay there for a while or get eliminated early, we're gonna go look around Dallas. I've never been over there. I've only driven by it from when I was in Kansas, and my wife knows a little bit about it, so she can show me what's around there, and we can have a good time. But in any case, the podcast tonight is going to be about the most epic accomplishment in gaming to yourself. Now, it could be completing a level, mastering a character, setting a world record. Everybody has their own achievements. And I'm not saying mine is better, but I will say that mine was one of the most challenging because not only it was involved in the game, but it was involved in life. So, just want to say, if you're ready for this story, because I don't think you're ready. I would say Coco's ready, but Coco's asleep right now. So before I do anything, let me just check something right quick, make sure my facts are right, just to make sure. Because some of you guys will be like, "Oh, your facts don't match up, right?" It's gonna perfectly. Okay. So our story begins in the year 1993. In 1993, let's see what happened in 1993. 1993 moments. Let's see here. 1993, the year that we got Jurassic Park toys. Bill Clinton was our president. A ferry in Haiti sinks. And what else? That'd be something else. If you're stealing that reunites for the first time since 1981, that's an epic moment. What else? Sleepless in Seattle. Apparently it's a good movie. I'm not sure. And actually, it was the year that Chris Kattan, Will Ferrell, they were doing the skit where they keep rocking their heads back and forth. And this particular year, they had Jim Carrey on there. It was basically one of the most iconic things to ever happen on TV. It was so funny. It was so over the top. But it wasn't considered the best year um, for myself. Reason being is because that year in October, my grandfather passed away, and I was, if I'm not mistaken, I was maybe 5 years old at the time when this happened. Gotta make sure, because you guys will be like, "Oh, that's not true. You weren't that old." 1988. Born in 1988. How old? So I think I was 6. So I think I would have been 6 if I count correctly. Yes, I was 6. I just had my birthday in September. I was 6 years old when this happened, and it was one of the first few times that I got to experience depression, sadness, because my grandfather, Ovidio Lopez, passed away of a heart attack. And it was sudden. It was not expected, and it shook everybody. It shook my mom, my father. My little brother was too young at the time, but the whole family was devastated for the loss. And for a while, I was in a little rut where I felt sad. Which comes with the territory when you're feeling, the first time feeling loss of a family member, especially someone that loved you and you loved right back at them. And it was a rough few months for myself. So around that time, I was like, okay, I didn't know how to deal with it, and my parents noticed that I would play my Super Nintendo more often than none during these times. And the games that I would play basically were, I didn't have Street Fighter then. All I had was Super Mario, and actually, I had that one and The Art of Fighting, but I was way too young to know how to play that game. I did manage to beat it, because I eventually learned how to do stuff, but I needed a new outlet, and I wasn't sure how it was gonna be. So my parents one day told me that I went to school, came back. My parents told me, "Look, since you've been doing good, you did go on your report cards. We're gonna get you a game." And at the time, I never thought of getting a new game was possible, because I thought what you got the first time, that was it. And I was little. Gotta understand, my mind's still developing at this point. And I told them, like, well, if you have anything I was in a Street Fighter phase then, because I liked Street Fighter. And I told them, if you give me Street Fighter, I'll be happy with that. But so they went to Blockbuster. I stayed home, and I remember it was a Friday night, and I was I was waiting for, I was hoping for Street Fighter. I really was. I was hoping for it, but then my parents came home, and they gave me this, the cartridge in a box, and it said Mega Man X. I never heard of Mega Man. I did not know who he was, and I was more confused than not. I'm like, well, isn't that Street Fighter? He's like, no, but this is what we fought for you, and it just recently came out. And then I asked my mom, like, well, I don't know what this is. And then my dad told me, and my dad he came up to me and he said, and I never forget this. He said, we asked the guy if we had Street Fighter. They didn't have anything like that. But the guy did say, this game will change your life. This game will show you a new way of playing that you never thought even possible. And it's in your hands. So, okay. So I opened up the box. I opened it up and I put the game inside my Super Nintendo. My mom goes, I'm gonna watch you play the first level, okay? I said, okay. And she sat down. She wanted to make sure that it wasn't anything like too violent. So I sat down, turned it on. I let the game roll. I didn't press start or anything. I wanted to see what the intro had to offer. It goes through the computer screen. It goes through everything, show you the data, the history of what was going on, and then the title screen came on, and I was mesmerized by the graphics. And I'm like, wow, this actually looks pretty cool. And I started the game, and the intro level, I will say, one of the best design levels in gaming history, because there is literally no prompts in there in the beginning. You just play. And the way that everything is integrated and set up, you learn on the fly, and the game teaches you. And the way that it teaches you, it puts you in the situations where you have to figure it out. And it introduced a new way of problem solving for me. So I'm going through the levels. I'm finding out what you can do with the buttons. I'm like, oh, I could blast, do a heavy blast if I keep the button pressed, or keep shooting these little pellets at enemies. You can't just hit them in any spot. You gotta hit them in certain sweet spots. And I felt good. I was like, oh, this is neat. Riding on a little car, because it was, I'd never done that before. So at this point, I'm over here thinking, oh yeah, this is gonna be badass. And I get to the end of the level, and then this dude comes on top of this robot, jumps out of an airship, and then he starts attacking me. And I'm shooting, and I'm shooting, and I'm shooting, and I'm trying to figure out how to beat this guy. But nothing's working. I'm shooting, I'm dodging, I'm trying to move, and at the first time in a game, I felt helpless. I felt stressed. I felt like it was starting to feel like whenever my grandfather passed. Like, oh no, I'm gonna die right here. This is gonna, my game's over already. I just started, and then I lose enough health to where the robot picks me up and like, oh, he's gonna kill me, and then out of nowhere, this beam comes out from the side of the screen, knocks off the dude's arm, and then chases him off. And I was so freaked out by it. I'm like, what is going on? The story's going on. It's like, one of these days you will be stronger, or it's just as strong as I am. And that blew my mind. I'm like, oh, I get to get stronger? I get to get upgrades? I get to do stuff like, and like my mind's racing so much. And then I see the levels, and I fell in love with all the bad guys. From the Flaming Mammoth to Spark Mandrill, Armored Armadillo, Boomer Coanger, because I think it's a cockroach. And I started figuring out that elements start affecting the bosses. So I keep finding layers upon layers how to fight these characters. Well, at the time, I was playing it, and I was beating all the guys. I beat all the bosses. There were a few trial and errors. I would get game overs where I couldn't continue. But I would get to all the characters, right, and start beating them. So, at that moment, I felt to myself, oh, hell yeah, I could do this. I'm doing good. I'm beating all the bosses. Once I beat the bosses, a new set of levels showed up. And as those levels came out, they were even harder, and I got stuck at one boss, and it was a spider. He was one of the hardest bosses I've ever fought. and I nearly lost. I lost nearly every single time until I figured out like I could do this, and I would beat him, and it felt good. I felt triumph, and then I got to the very last level, and it was Sigma, and I got bodied by his dog until I figured out how to beat the dog, and then I started fighting Sigma himself, and he started going up and down, jumping up and down. I'm like, I can do this, I can beat him, and then I actually maybe managed to beat him right there. I'm like, yes, I beat the game, and then all of a sudden there's a third form that I had never seen or never expected, and I just kept dying over and over and over again. So I'm like, okay, all right, I can do this. That's fine. That's cool. I'm gonna figure this out, and I'm actually gonna succeed. I got this. So I had to go to bed. This happened within a span of like, let's say, 3 months. I went to school. I was still in elementary at the time, and I was coming home. I saw my mom outside, and usually I don't live that far from where school was. I just literally walked to the school, and that was it. Well, this time my mom came over to where we were, and she's like, "Guys, I have some bad news." I'm like, whoa, like, what is it, mommy? You know, like back when I was little. She said, your Super Nintendo got stolen. And I'm like, well, what? Well, yeah, your Super Nintendo got stolen. And I felt sick to my stomach. I ran home, went into my room, and I kept my Nintendo inside of a drawer to open and close it, that way it would be out of sight. At the time, we had a relative stay over there, and he was living with us because he was looking for work. He was working around the area until he needed a little bit of money to get himself back up. So he basically stole Super Nintendo, a VCR, a remote control, and all my other stuff. Could consider tech wise. All my games that I had was gone, and I cried. And I never thought that would ever happen to me, and especially from family. So my parents filed a police report. It's like, oh, we're gonna do this, and then I find out what's going on. At that time, we didn't know it was my uncle that did it, but we eventually found out that it was him. So at that moment, I was sad. I was sad again. My mom goes, you know what? We'll get you another Nintendo, and we'll get you a new game. And at the time, they didn't keep old games. They would always, I to be honest, to this day, I still don't know what they did with the old games. If you didn't sell it, well, we got another Super Nintendo, but it was a different model. It was like a top loader. No, it wasn't even a top loader. The design was so weird. It was kind of like slicker, it was smoother, but I could not find Mega Man X. I could not find it, and I was sad, and I'm like, oh. And I'm like thinking to myself, I never finished the game. That would have been the first adventure game I would have finished. And I was very, very upset. So around this time, I'm thinking, okay, I'm never gonna find another game like that again. I moved on, got a whole new set of games, Super Nintendo, and I was, living my life. The year now is 2009. My brother he had just enlisted into the military to leave for the Navy. As a gift to give to him whenever he came back, I went to, at the time, I went to Hollywood Video, which is no longer with us, and I got him, I went to Game Crazy, and I got him a Xbox 360, the arcade version, which is the cheapest one you can buy. And on the shelf, I saw something that I could not believe was in my sights. There was a PlayStation 2 game called Mega Man X Collection. Okay, it's literally Mega Man X through Mega Man 6. All the Mega Man X games came out from Super Nintendo until the last generation, PlayStation 1. At the time of that game was out, the PS3 was just introduced. Yeah, the PS3 was just introduced, and we just got out of the phase of the PS2. Well, I didn't have a PS3 then. I had the PS2. So, no, I'm lying. When did we get it? We did have a PS3. But my brother would use the PS3 more, and I was still using the PS2. Wait, I'm trying to remember correctly. Okay. Yeah. When I got the game, the disc never... I already had the PS2, but I never used the game for it. I bought the Mega Man X collection, and I was using a PS3. So, when I was using the PS3, I was like, okay, I finally get to play this game again. I need this game to work out for me. Let's do this. So, I start playing the game, and... You know what? No, I'm lying. How did it go? What did I use? It was the PlayStation 2. That's right. Okay. I did have the PlayStation 2 and I played that game on it. Because when I played it, I had data on it. That's true. So when I was playing the game, it was towards the end of my PlayStation 2's life cycle. And I started grinding through everything again. YouTube was a thing then, but I did not really look into how to beat games or look up any strategies. I'm like, I'm going to beat this thing. Collected all the power-ups, collected all of the energy tanks, armor, health buffs, and everything. And I'm like, okay, I did it. I could continue now. I could continue, beat these bosses, and beat Sigma. I get to Sigma again. The next day, because I had to go to work later that day. The next day, I tried playing the game. It died on me. My PS2 croaked. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. So it croaked on me. And I was like, damn it. So I was like, wait, I still have the PS3. Right about I was about to try to find the PS3, I couldn't find it for some reason. We'll come to find out that my brother took the PS3 with him to the military. And I was like, no, why did he take it? Why did he take it? Why did he take it with him? Because now I'm out of a console. So I'm thinking, okay, I'll just give myself another PS3. I got the money to do it. Let me go get it. Well, they stopped selling that model PS3 that was backwards compatible. So I had a game that I could not play, and I had to put it up on the shelf. So I'm like, damn it. I put it on the shelf, and I was waiting, and waited till he could come back. But I didn't touch the game. I didn't move it. I left it where it was. So, time passed. This was 2009 when he left. And then he didn't come home until 2011. And I told him I gotta use the PS3. Okay. Put my game in there. Had to start all over again. Started playing it. Got all the power ups again. Got all the stuff. Every single little part, nook and cranny that I looked for, that I needed. I was upgraded. I was ready to go. Well, I got to the same guy. And I kept getting closer and closer, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna beat him. I was down to one hit. And when I shot, and I could remember it distinctly. When I gave it that last shot, you saw the pellet going straight for his head as the robot head's moving over and over, and it was just about to hit. All of a sudden, the game just froze, and it shut off. I was like, what? So I went to go check again, turned it back on, and it was working fine, only to find out that all the data that was on that game was corrupted. I was like, oh, I gotta do it all over again. I was like, oh, I gotta do it. I went to bed, woke up, went to work. I was about to hang out with my brother. But he was still with us until he had to go back home, and then he calls me and he says, the PS3 stopped working. What do I do? What do I do? And I'm like, well, disconnect it, let it cool off, try to do proper maintenance. And we didn't know that because of what happened, basically killed the PS3. Now, before you go say anything, oh, it could have been fixed. At the time, we didn't know anybody that could fix it. We find out later that it could have been fixed, but it was too late. But I will say that it frustrated me whenever it happened, because I was stuck all over again. I could not believe it. The PS3 died. My brother left, and I'm left with this game again, just sitting there in my hand. And I just literally thought to myself, am I not destined to finish this game? Is it meant to be completed? Can it be completed? Will I ever complete it? And I was sad. I felt bad. So I put the game up into a shelf. I didn't look at it for 2 more years. Okay? Remember, from 1993 until 2009, and then from 2009 to 2011. And I couldn't beat it. And I was like, I can't finish it. I have no tech to finish it with. I wasn't gonna look for a Mega Man X game for the Super Nintendo because I knew I wasn't gonna be able to find the game that cheap. The game is pretty expensive because it's one of the originals, and I was sad. I couldn't do anything about it. Well, around that time, I was let go of the hospital where I was working at as a maintenance mechanic. And I was at a crossroads because it was the end of the summer. And my dad had told me, like, have you thought about going to college? And I never considered going to college because waste of time, didn't have the money, didn't want to put myself through that. Well, I didn't know who to ask or where to go to. And I told him, you know what, just let me figure out what I'm gonna do. So it was a late night, and I was going through some stuff, like trying to, putting up some things, and I found my old PS2, dusty as crap, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this little piece of crap. And I was trying to figure out why I still had it, because it did not work anymore. I was going to throw it away. And then I go, you know what? I got all the connections. Let's try this one more time. Let's see if this works. So I connect my PS2 to the TV. The issue on it was that the disc kept messing up. The disc tray kept opening and closing. And I felt that if this thing does not work, I'm throwing away this PS2 because I'm basically collecting crap. I opened the disc tray, took out the game, put it in there, closed the tray, and as it closed, I was looking at the screen and it worked. The PlayStation 2 sign came on, and then the game started working, and I was just like, oh my god, it works. Okay, so I had the console, I had the controller connected to it, and when I started the game, I failed to realize, and I forgot that this happened. We didn't have the memory card anymore. I've since then found it. I have it actually put up somewhere. I have yet to put it with my with my game console, but I have it still. And I felt like, oh shit, okay. I don't know if this game will ever work again, so I have to play it. I have to beat it tonight. I wasn't working. I didn't have school. I'm gonna do this tonight. I'm gonna finish this damn game. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., etc., etc. Collecting all the armor pieces, all the health upgrades, all of the energy packs to regain your health. I even managed to get the secret Hadouken thingy, which I didn't even know existed. Even though there were videos on it, I didn't look on YouTube to figure out how to beat it. And I made it to Sigma. Beat the dog, beat his second form. When I got to his last form, I kept dying over and over again. I was there for a good 2 hours just fighting Sigma, hearing the same music over and over again, to the point where I'm like feeling like frustrated. And I looked at myself. I had a little mirror right there looking right back at me. And then I had a very brief memory of my grandfather. He basically, I had a brief glimpse of him basically in that mirror. And that kind of resonated in me to where I'm beating him now. Got back into the game, landed the last hit. I finally defeated Sigma. I finally defeated Mega Man X. From the year 1993 to 2011. Okay. You know how long it took? I'll let you do the math right quick if you're looking at it on your phone. I'm gonna just wing it here. 2011 to 1993. It took 18 years. It took for my gaming career to reach the smoking age in Texas to beat that game. 18 years. I just did the math. I just realized how long it took. So, almost 2 decades of me trying to beat this damn thing. Whether it be I couldn't complete it, or life would get in the way, or take it away from me. I finally defeated Mega Man X. It showed perseverance for me, and a huge weight was lifted off of me. I felt closure from my grandfather. I felt closure to myself that I managed to beat it. And I was not gonna let this stop me. Thankfully, there were remakes of the game. There were all this stuff that was done for it that helped me complete it. So now, completed the game. I'm like, so what do I do now? I didn't play I didn't play the other Mega Man X games. To be honest, I left it there. Beating the first one was what I wanted to do. Oh, fun fact, I beat Mega Man X6 prior of me getting the Mega Man X collection because my Tio Juel got me Mega Man X6 for Christmas a few years ago for the PlayStation 1. And give you a quick shout out to that, Tio. Thank you very much. That was the first Mega Man X game I beat, and that encouraged me to beat Mega Man X. So thank you. I really do appreciate it, Tio. But at that time, I just put it up. I put up the game, and I was like, that's it. No more Mega Man. I'm done with it. I could have sold it, but I kept it. That was the only PS2 game that I kept. And so I moved on with my life. Since then, I got married. Moved to an apartment. You know. And I was going through some stuff. I was trying to figure out how to get this capture card working with gaming software on CRT TVs for some friends. I used to do it before. The problem was that since now I converted to HDMI, it was harder for me to do that kind of shit. So I'm like, okay, I can't do it. You gotta figure out a way. Found the PS2. Then I found out that the capture card that I have has a little setting where you can connect to the PS2 and the PS1, but I have yet to get that working. I'm gonna have to get another PS1. And to work, to capture what I needed to see. And for the first time, I actually got to maybe work with a game on the PS2. I'm like, okay, I can see it, I found the old PS2 again, powered it up, just to make sure I had video showing on the screen. Like, okay, fuck yeah, I got it working. And then I had an idea. Okay, just to make sure I got this date right, because it was not recent, but it happened not too long ago. When was this? 8 months ago. So 8 months ago, that was literally freaking. Are you serious? Excuse me, guys. I'm gonna check something here. November 26, 2016 was the last time I played this game. And I thought to myself, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna beat this game in one sitting, but I'm gonna beat it as quickly as possible. I'm just gonna record it. So I recorded myself playing Mega Man X again, and I just literally flew through the game. I flew right through it. And to have proof of that, I actually have footage of myself playing this game 8 months ago. And it's up on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's a full playthrough, all the bosses, all the stuff playing it. It was a 100% game, and I got to enjoy it again one last time. And now I have it there, put up. The game is still inside of the PS2 where it belongs. I had to buy a new controller for it as well because I lost the other one or it stopped working. And by luck, when I was in Kansas a few years ago, back in 2014, I actually went to a GameStop over there to buy a controller for a friend. I bought the wrong controller because the cheap one is like $2. You know, I could use this on the PS3. Well, come to find out, it's a PS2 controller, and I was already coming back home. I'm like, well, I can't fucking return it. It's here. Well, fuck it. I kept it, and somehow I got it to work. It wasn't working with the PS2 at first. I had to play with it until I guess I had to push a button or something, and it finally started moving. And I got to play Mega Man X all over again with the new third-party controller, and I was like, oh, sweet, this is pretty cool. And you can see the whole playthrough on my YouTube channel. Okay, now why did I tell you this whole story? A lot of you guys have felt you've been robbed by your friends. A lot of you guys have felt discouraged after something you worked so hard doesn't really come through. The one thing that I can say about this whole thing, if it wasn't for Mega Man X, for me, I would never know what perseverance was. What that game has taught me was to never give up and win. That's what this game has taught me. So to my advice to all of you, don't give up on life. If you need help from your friends, ask for help. But don't backstab them in the back. Because that's not right. This is a game that you want to play to get your mind away from being an adult. Because when I played this game again 8 months ago, I felt like I was 6 years old and I fell in love all over again. So that is my story. What is your greatest accomplishment in gaming? Talk about it in the comments below on YouTube. And thank you again, guys, for listening to this podcast. I miss doing this. I'll be doing this more often. Hopefully I get to go to Absolute Battle. I'll be posting more updates on it. But in the meantime, remember, guys, keep on fighting, fighters. I love all of you. Stay safe from the hurricane and stay strong. That's all I can say. Goodbye.